Hi, I'm Supervisor Don Knabe, and I'm pleased to welcome you back to another episode of Dial In. It's that busy time of year here in Los Angeles County, the holidays. So here on Dial In, that means it's once again time to shine a light on some incredible organizations in the community stepping up to help those in need. This is our third annual holiday episode, and we have another great show packed with some incredible groups. For some in our community, the holidays are just another day in their ongoing struggle. Fortunately, these wonderful organizations continue to step up to fill the void, not only during the holidays, but bring joy to these families all year long. This month, I'm pleased to introduce to you some of these incredible nonprofits who are working tirelessly year-round to help those in need and help those who are going through these hardships. I hope you'll enjoy the show.
Get caught buzz driving, and you could do some hard time.
Craig, knock it off.
Sorry, Mom.
It could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. And that could set you back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back to Dial In. My first guest today is Tanya Burns, Executive Director of Children Today, an organization based in Long Beach. For nearly 20 years, Children Today has been providing child care services to some of our most vulnerable children. With 2 neighborhood play centers and a new permanent facility on the way, Children Today is prepared to help families in need all year long. So Tanya, thanks for joining me today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So let's start with the inspiration behind Children Today. How did it all sort of come when and sort of bring us up to date?
So in 1997, 2 incredible women, Teresa Bixby and Jennifer Fitzgerald, one of them actually happened to see a toddler walking down the street alone, wearing a diaper, no parent in sight. And that really became the inspiration for Children Today. And as you stated, we provide services to some of the most vulnerable children in the city of Long Beach. We provide services for children of homeless families. And the services that we provide are specifically geared towards children. People often don't think about children experiencing homelessness, and so a lot of the services that are in place are there for their parents, but our services are there to address their specific needs. We started our first program in 2000, the Playhouse West, and then we expanded in 2008. Right now we have a total of 64 children that we're providing services for.
Is that on a daily basis?
That's on a daily basis. So we do have the 2 programs today. We will be moving to the brand new facility. Each facility has 32 kids each, but since inception, we've provided services to more than 1,500 kids and 1,100 families.
So as you move to the new facility, you're still going to keep the other 2 then, or
no,
everything will be under one roof?
Absolutely. So we are consolidating, and both programs will be moving to Eco House, which is the name of the new facility, and all services will be provided out of Eco House.
So the population primarily is the homeless families, correct?
That is our target population.
Do you do services to other kids, the vulnerable kids?
Absolutely, we do. We actually partner with the County of Los Angeles Department of Children and Family Services, and so we also serve some children who are foster children or children that are served in the child welfare system. They may be with their birth parent, but they have an open case with the DCFS. A lot of the families that we serve are families that are they live at or below the poverty level. Most of the families are single women. We do have some dual parent households and even fewer single-headed households by fathers. A lot of the parents, many of the women may have come from domestic violence situations. Some have substance use or mental health problems. But those are the type of families that we are serving.
So in addition to the children that you serve, and obviously that's the point population of what you're really doing, you also deal with the families, correct?
We do provide services to the families. We have a social worker, part-time social worker, who actually provides referrals and linkages for those families. So many of our families may need additional services and supports, and for example, a lot of the kids that we serve may experience some delays, developmental delays, delays. And so we refer kids to the regional centers. We also work with the Long Beach Unified School District. So when kids have mental health issues and mental health needs, they may be assessed by the Long Beach Unified School District. Long Beach is incredible in terms of its collaborations. And so we also partner with another organization that actually comes to our facility 1 day per week at each site, providing mental health services to kids and their parents.
So are you able to identify the domestic violence case issues, or?
So what happens, particularly with our contract through the City of Long Beach, that's our very first program. We are part of what Long Beach has titled a continuum of care for homeless individuals and families. So if an individual or a family, they find themselves homeless, they contact the city for services. There is a multi-service center, which is basically a triage center for individuals to seek the help that they need. And once there, they are then referred for those services and supports.
Yeah, there's numerous caseworkers in that multi-service center.
There
it's a
are.
Great filtering facility.
They're medical services, they're job and vocational services, again, they're mental health services, and what we provide as part of that continuum are the child care and development services, so that kids can be in a safe and stable place while their families are engaged in all those activities to help get them to the place where they can achieve housing permanency.
So you're able to facilitate that as well. I mean, you've had, what has been your success rate as getting some of these families off the streets and into some sort of housing?
You know, through our
It's difficult, I know, but.
Well, through our contract with the City of Long Beach, they actually have specific outcomes that they are looking at, and one of them is whether or not individuals achieve housing stability, as well as do they have an income at the time that they leave, and more than 2/3 of the families achieve permanent housing. For us, the specific outcomes that we are looking at are the developmental milestones that our children experience as a result of being in our program. And so we also have a contract through the California Department of Education. We have an assessment tool. We assess kids where they are at the time that they enter our program, and then where they are at the time that they leave. And so we're measuring their cognitive development, physical growth, math skills, language skills, and that information is actually reported to the California Department of Education, and all of our children obviously do experience significant progress in meeting those developmental milestones.
So what are some of the ways that the community can get involved during the holiday season to assist you?
Well, so, you know, I mentioned that we have contracts with the City of Long Beach, as well as a contract with the state California Department of Education. That only pays for 45% of our services. And so we have a very, very helpful board that donates their time and money. 55% of our funding comes from special events, private donations, and private foundations. So as an agency that provides real quality services, we always need financial assistance. We don't want to compromise on quality. We could provide services that are less quality. We don't prefer to. You know, one of the things that we do, we have really low teacher to student ratios. And what that means is that we have to hire more teachers for fewer students. We believe that learning occurs in the context of building relationships with a trusted adult. And therefore, our program is of a very high quality. And so we really depend upon the public to donate to us. And so if people are really interested in helping our organization, they can go to www.childrentoday.org to assist us.
Great. You must have an incredible staff.
I have an absolutely incredible staff. There are 12 teachers and 2 directors, and so when we combine, they will be at one facility. They are incredibly skilled in child development. We do a vetting process with all of our teachers because of the population that we work with. It really does take a special person to be able to provide the guidance, the care, the nurturing that's required for children that have experienced homelessness and or abuse and neglect. And as such, we also pay our teachers at a higher rate than what is the industry standard. We are real committed to both the participants of our program as well as our staff, and we've been very fortunate. Our retention rate is very good.
That's great.
We probably have, there are 3 or 4 of our teachers that have been with us for 7 or more years.
Wow. So Echo House, I'm looking forward to paying it a visit one of these days.
Yes.
And when do you expect it to open? What, early spring, is it?
No, actually, we're preparing for. I hope December is going to be the move-in
great.
date. Yeah, we're doing a whole lot of work to get ready for the move at this time. The construction is completely done. It is an absolutely beautiful facility. What's different about Eco House and what it's going to offer to the kids in our that we're currently serving, we have 5,000 square foot for classrooms that are very spacious. We had donations from a particular foundation that purchased all new furniture for the facility. I think what's most incredible about the space is that we have 15,000 square feet of really beautiful outdoor space for each of our targeted kids that we serve, which includes a garden, an herb garden where the kids can go out and they can actually work in the herb garden, and then the actual outdoor space has a bamboo garden, we have a butterfly garden and a fountain. You know, kids that are even more affluent probably won't experience what we currently have for the kids that are.
Well, I look forward to making my visit there and to be part of that. Your program's just phenomenal, and you touch their lives, and it's a life-changing experience for these young people. So I really appreciate you taking the time to be with me today, and thank you and to your staff and to everyone, your board of directors and everyone that helps children today.
Thank you so much.
Great program, and to you and everyone, a happy holiday season.
To you as well.
Thank you.
Thanks
for joining me. We'll be right back.
No way. Hi. Hi. Shine, come on and let it shine. Light me up, make me feel alive. Hi. She actually said hi to you. Shine on me today.
Welcome back to Dialed In. My next guest is the president of Meals on Wheels Industry, Joe Gardner. Meals on Wheels is a food delivery program serving the disabled, the aged, and chronically ill in our communities. Volunteers not only deliver a hot meal, but also friendship, comfort, and a compassion to those in need. So thank you for joining me today, Joe.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor.
Meals on Wheels, nationwide program known all over the world. But when did the industry chapter actually start?
1979.
So it's been around since 1979, ongoing. What an incredible record of goodwill to the community.
Yes.
What areas of the county, of Los Angeles County, do you serve?
We primarily serve the East San Gabriel Valley, the cities of West Covina, Hacienda Heights, Bassett, the unincorporated areas of the county in the East San Gabriel Valley, all the way down to Diamond Bar.
So you serve like Rolling Heights as well too?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So who are the primary recipients of the food?
Those that can't provide meals for themselves, those folks that are disabled, have a chronic illness or unable to prepare food on their own, that's where we come in.
So the most important piece, I guess, of all that, where do you get your food?
We get that from Queen of the Valley Hospital, Citrus Valley Health Partners. They've been our provider of food for many years, and they've always been great to us.
So, I mean, when you say that they've been provider of food, I mean, so do you get fully prepared meals, or do your volunteers have to prepare them? I mean, how does it work from the back room to the door of the recipient?
The kitchen prepares all the food for us, packages the food, and puts it in hot boxes. And then once all the food is prepared for those deliveries.
That's the hospital?
Yes, the hospital does. And then they bring it out to us, the drivers, and then we sort it out according to the delivery schedule, and off we go.
Wow. So are you able to, obviously with some of the disabled, some of the aged, special needs, special diets, are you able to deal with those kinds of issues?
Yes, it could be a very complex issue. Many of those folks can't have high sodium or other dietary restrictions, and we make sure that each of those labels matches up to the recipient and that they get the right meal for that day.
So are there is milk and water included, or is it just the meal? I mean, how
Yes.
does that work?
Well, we provide them juice and milk and fruit sometimes, depending on their restrictions, as well as some desserts, a sandwich, and also some hot meals.
So is it once a day?
Yes. Well, we'll provide meals once a day, but we'll bring more than one meal, oftentimes for delivery.
To the recipient?
Yes,
So is that, so in other words, so they'll have a meal for lunch and they'll have a meal for dinner?
that's correct.
Wow, so they get 2 meals a day.
Yes, they do.
So how many meals do you deliver every month then?
Last month, we delivered 1,174 meals to 76 recipients.
Wow, so so 76 recipients are in the route. How does someone find Meals on Wheels? How does Joe, I have a friend that's in need of hot meals, unable to cook for themselves. What happens?
Oftentimes, it's word of mouth. In fact, some of our drivers, our volunteers, had parents that were on the program, and they'll come and participate in the meals program, or they'll link up some of those people in need with the program so that we can get meals to
So
them.
how do you identify? Do family members come to you, or, I mean, how does someone learn about Meals on Wheels and say, I need that service?
Well, we have a website, and people can go to mealsonwheels411.org and get further information about the program. Or our drivers are our best ambassadors to the program. Oftentimes, they are the ones that will help us link up with people who need food.
So obviously, this requires a lot of people to do very nice things.
Certainly
So
does.
how many volunteers do you have, and how do you recruit volunteers?
Last month we had 34 drivers. It fluctuates sometimes, but we have 34 drivers that actually do the 5-day-a-week delivery of meals, even on holidays. And then we have some other volunteers that work at the hospital to help coordinate the organization of the deliveries, as well as some of our board members. So about 40, probably 44 members.
I mean, it's sort of like ambassadors, right? I mean,
Yes.
The stories that I hear, success stories about Meals on Wheels, is not just the delivery of the food. It's the delivery of a smile,
Correct.
a conversation. So what would be, if you had like a moving moment of a memory of your involvement? How many years have you been involved?
2 years now. 2 years plus.
I mean, is there something because that's the stories that always people tell. It's not just the food, but it's the other experience.
Yes, I found it very rewarding. In fact, we have one recipient. She's 101 years old. She just
Wow.
turned back in August, and she has been part of our recipient program for some time. And so oftentimes the drivers are the only person that she really sees every week. They come and talk with her and, make sure she's okay. And we do that to a number of the recipients that we deliver meals to.
So I've heard stories too that Meals on Wheels has expanded every once in a while in certain areas. I don't know if industry chapter does this, but books, a library book or a tape, books on tape or whatever it may be. Is that correct? Do they do?
We haven't done that part of the program yet, but that's certainly a good idea, and some that I've heard of those ideas before.
Maybe it might be some of your ambassadors just do it on their own, kind of a thing. So how do you recruit these volunteers? I mean, obviously someone's word of mouth or had experience with it, but that's a lot of people to keep moving around. So how do you get your volunteers?
Well, it's a process of putting it out on our Facebook page, and as I said, some of the recipients tell about the good stories and experiences they've had with our drivers, and we get other drivers through that process as well. So we're always looking for drivers. We could expand our territory, but it's tough. We have people on our waiting list who want to get meals from our program, but we don't have enough drivers yet.
Don't have enough drivers. So how can the community get involved? I mean, we're going to tell them there today. Would you say that number again for us?
Yes, it's mealsonwheels411.org, or you can call 626-333-4570.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to be with us today, but more importantly, I think you probably do this. You've been doing it for 2 years and just sort of go through the motions sometimes, but it's such an important part of the lifeblood of the people you serve, particularly during the holidays. Like you say, in many cases, it's the only face that they get to see on a regular basis. So I want to thank you and the industry chapter of Meals on Wheels for all that you do, and wish you all a great holiday season. But
Thank
thanks
you,
for
sir.
taking the time to join us.
We're grateful for your support.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
You make me wear my bike helmet. Taught me never to run with scissors. And to follow the swimming rules.
You tell me to stay away from drugs.
To always buckle my seatbelt.
So why do you keep a loaded gun in your drawer?
How safe is that?
You asked them to follow some safety rules. Now they're asking you. In fact, they're counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. Remember, always lock it up. Visit ncpc.org.
Welcome back to Dialed In. My next guest is Eric Miller from Operation Jumpstart. Since 1994, Operation Jumpstart has provided resources and mentoring to youth in underserved areas to help them be the first in their families to get in, stay in, and graduate from college. Eric is a former Operation Jumpstart participant, and now he serves as the organization's Director of Community Relations. Thanks for joining me today, Eric.
No problem.
So let's sort of talk about what was the inspiration of the creation of Operation Jumpstart?
Well, our mission is to turn a child's college dreams into reality. And so I like to think that we provide a bridge to those two, a bridge of hope, and it's supported by a number of things, which are resources, it is our mentors, and it is definitely different experiences throughout the city.
And who was the inspiration behind this in the very beginning?
Her name was Diane Zenda, and she was actually a dance teacher. And so she had a young student who was interested in going to college but didn't know the route how. And so she acted as our first mentor, and then it just sparked what we have today.
So sort of how does the program work? Kids come in, you recruit kids, what happens?
So Operation Jumpstart is a one-to-one college access mentoring program. Now that's super long-winded, but what that means is that we're a program very similar to Big Brothers and Big Sisters, where we match students with mentors, who, like I said, are community members from our city. And what we do is we provide them with tons of different experiences and resources, all focused towards getting them into a four-year university eventually.
Well, I like your story. I mean, you are a graduate of the program.
Yeah.
You are now the Director of Community Relations, but talk about what you went to college and what your real life aspiration were.
So my introduction to Operation Jumpstart's pretty interesting because I started as a little 12-year-old kid at Stanford Middle School. And so I was about this tall and about this round. And I was a little curious, to say the least. But I had a high school counselor approach me about joining a mentoring program. And this was because I had been a bit mischievous. And that's not really the case for a lot of our students, but it was for me. And so the same counselor knew that I was coming from a single parent home and knew that I definitely needed some additional guidance. And so after getting into one of my situations, as I was often in, she provided me with an option. Either she was going to tell my mom or I fill out the mentoring application. I'm pretty sure you figured out which one I chose. So I was matched with my mentor, who was a retired dentist. And at the time, I didn't think that we had much in common, but we did. And over the years, he and I did tons of really cool things, ranging from going to a college football game to going to a cool architectural project. And he was actually the person who introduced me to the idea of becoming an architect. And from my neighborhood, I'm going to be honest with you, there are not very many architects. I come from a pretty tough neighborhood, as a lot of the people from my background, unfortunately, were either involved in gangs or working on a little day-to-day job. And so with all that said, with the assistance of Operation Jumpstart and my mentor, by the time I got to my senior year of high school, I had tons of opportunities, not just because of my athletic accolades, which was something that I was interested in as a young man, but also because of my academics. And so I actually ended up choosing the academic route, and I went for a degree in architecture, which, like I said, was introduced to me as a young man. And I became the first in my family to go to college, and I'm an architect.
So you're one of the true success stories. So how is it always a point of entry like 12, 13 years old, or what is the usual point of entry?
So most of our students enter in the 8th grade, but we really accept students ranging from as late as the 11th grade. And so we follow these students from the 8th grade all the way through high school and all the way into college. And so into their senior years. We've followed them literally the entire way until they get that degree.
So how do how do you help kids prepare to get into a four-year college?
We do it through a number of ways. First off, it's about providing opportunities and experiences. And so with that said, we do a lot of college tours. We also go to different business tours so they can experience other job opportunities outside of the stereotypical ones that they know of. We also provide them with tons of resources. For kids that join Operation Jumpstart, with 1 year being in the program, we give them a brand new laptop so that they're technologically sound. Then we provide them with tons of different educational workshops ranging from a financial aid to filling out college applications to SAT prep, all with the assistance by the time that they get to the 12th grade. Bam, they have tons of options for them.
Well, I find it interesting. Obviously, they taught you something more than just how to get to college, stay in, graduate, and become an architect.
Right.
They taught you the skill of giving back.
Yes.
Remember, now you're the director of community relations. So that relationship between that mentor and mentee is pretty important to the process, right? I mean, you had a retired dentist talking to you, keeping you in school, you become an architect. So that relationship is extremely important.
It's ideal in most of these situations where these students build a really strong friendship with these mentors. And these mentors, though they go into it with this idea of I'm going to be an inspirer, they actually become part of the idea of becoming the bigger issue, which is becoming a professional. And so it's kind of a cool deal.
So I obviously, being one of the success stories, are you able to use your skills and the ability to communicate to inspire these young people to say, hey, here's where I came from, here's where I'm at?
Yeah, to talk to these kids.
It has to have an impact.
Yeah, to talk to them, it's really easy because I come from those neighborhoods. I was from a single parent home and I know what it is to be low income. And I share a lot of those experiences with them and the opportunity of getting out and providing hope. And so hearing my story, a lot of people get attracted to it and get inspired by wanting to join.
So is there anything folks in the community, folks listening out there can do to get involved with Operation Jumpstart other than to help you raise money and do other things? What are some of the ways that the public can get involved with Operation Jumpstart?
Well, there's 3 ways that you can really get involved. The first way is assisting us with tutoring, as we have a free tutoring program to all of our students, obviously because we're academically based. The second way to get involved is through mentoring. Obviously, because we have so many students, our biggest resource is providing them with a mentor. And so the more mentors we can have, the better. The third resource is what you were talking about earlier, is fundraising and donations. We have 2 programs going on right now where we are asking people to join our donor wall, which is a one-time gift, and to show our students that you believe in them. And then our second opportunity is through our giving circle, which is a monthly gift.
Well, Eric, I just want to wish you the very best. Joyous holiday to you and your newly married, right? I mean,
yes,
so
brand new.
We want to congratulate you on that, but more importantly, thank you for not only being a success story, but being the face and mouth of Operation Jumpstart. It's a great program, very familiar with it, been involved with it for years, and we want to thank you for taking the time to join us today, and just say God bless and happy holidays.
I really appreciate this opportunity, man, to
You're
spread the message. So thank you again.
We'll be right back.
No way. Hi. Hi. Shine, come on and let it shine.
Thank you again for tuning in to Dial In. I want to thank our special guests for taking the time to join me today. Even more so, I want to recognize them for their incredible effort and commitment to helping those most in need. The holidays are not a happy time for everyone, but if we all just do a small part, we can really change a life and bring a smile to their face. Whether it's giving toys, food, or clothing, the smallest gesture can make a big difference. I'd also like to take a moment to thank our troops who may not be able to celebrate the holidays with their families. And to their families and friends, we appreciate the sacrifice that you make each and every day as you wait for your loved ones to return home safely. Here in the 4th District, we have a very long history of supporting U.S. vets. If you would like to make a life-changing difference for a homeless or at-risk veteran and their families, please visit usvets.org or call 213-542-2600 and get involved today. However you celebrate, I wish you and yours peace and joy this holiday season, and most importantly, all the best and a healthy, happy New Year. Thank you again for tuning in to Dialed In. We'll be back next year with an all-new show.